Welcome to Flashpoints. I'm Margaret Brennan. I'm joined by Juan Zarate, CBS News Senior National Security Advisor here. We've been talking a lot about some of these questions about almost the rules of engagement in the cyberspace, what the U.S. government can see, where that line between privacy and national security is. Right. It's the same topic that President Obama will be talking about in many ways with the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, out in California. The Chinese have been accused of hacking American government computers and getting very sensitive information. How much of a national security threat is this?
Well, I think you've heard American officials talking more openly about not only how central this is to national security, the fact that you have sensitive data, for example, from defense contractors, from the Pentagon, being stolen by the Chinese, but also being very open about the fact that it's coming from China. And so that's what puts this sort of as a centerpiece issue, not only in this meeting, but moving forward between the U.S. and China. We've already laid our cards on the table, saying not only is this critical to our national economic security, not only is this critical to national security writ large, but this is a key component of the U.S.-China relationship, and that's why you're going to see the president raising this. The Chinese are not going to necessarily want to talk about this. They're going to claim it's hard to attribute these things. We're subject to these types of attacks as well. They're going to want to deflect and move toward different topics, including their role in the world and trying to accommodate their rising power against the American face eastward toward Asia.
This is something, though, that we've heard from the business community for years, that proprietary information was being stolen, ideas, essentially, that you can't put a price on. Right. It seems like this is getting worse and not better. Have there been any successful attempts at stopping some of these cyber crimes?
Well, I think the security attempts have gotten better. And you've got to keep in mind, cybersecurity is everything from low-level cyber theft all the way to high-end disruptions and espionage.
And that's where we are now.
And that's where we are now. And we're seeing such a volume of that high-end cyber espionage and potential disruption. Keep in mind, Margaret, that it's not just what the Chinese are stealing, but it's also potentially what the Chinese and other nefarious actors may be implanting in key systems. Keep in mind, our infrastructure runs on the internet, critical water, electrical, other financial systems that are run on the internet. And so there's a key question here, not only what are the Chinese stealing in terms of comparative advantage, but what are they potentially preparing to give them leverage in the event of a conflict? And so those are real issues, and I think the volume, the nature of these attacks have just driven the United States to now say enough is enough. We're going to be public about it. The Department of Defense, the intelligence community have started to talk about this coming largely from China and Russia.
And we know that the United States is also an actor here. I mean, cyber warfare is sort of the new realm.
Well, absolutely.
Engagement.
And I think this revelation of this PRISM program, which the Director of National Intelligence, Jim Clapper, has now declassified, is a reflection of that. The internet is a domain unto itself where not only are we being attacked, but it's a place where we can leverage the information that we can acquire. And so we have to deal with the fact that we are major players in the space, but also vulnerable in that space. And I think that's why you're going to see this as a centerpiece of the discussions with the Chinese president. And it's critical that President Obama be very serious and open about it, because at this stage, what's coming from China looks quite threatening.
And Secretary of State John Kerry has announced that there are going to be high-level talks and will continue to be throughout the year. But is this really something diplomacy can fix?
Well, diplomacy actually is an interesting part of the solution. It can't fix it unto itself. But I think the Chinese don't like being outed, in a sense. They don't like being cornered or shamed. And so to the extent that the diplomacy, both quiet and public, allows for a little bit of name and shame, a little bit of suasion to get them to change behavior, and certainly to get the new president. Remember, this is a new Chinese president who can take this on as his own issue and to start to confine perhaps what the Chinese are doing. But the proof will be in the pudding. Do the attacks from China decrease? Do we see a diminution of the stealing of critical research and development, S&T from government defense contractors? That's really the proof's in the pudding. You can have as many conferences and meetings as you want, but are the cyber attacks continuing, and are the Chinese taking advantage of it? If they are, then you've got to move to other means.
Yeah, not clear if there are going to be any key wins at this conference, but it's a very important meeting between Xi Jinping and President Obama, arguably one of the most important relationships of this century between the two countries.
It will become the critical relationship between the two great powers, no doubt, in the 21st century.
All right, Juan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Margaret.
It's been Flashpoints. We'll see you next time.